Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Wednesday, April 14th, 2021. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball games and look ahead to today's games. I'll do my NBA power rankings for the week, latest news and notes, The Masked Singer. We'll preview tonight's episode and my best bet of the day. All right, we're going to start with the NBA as we'll go over a solid window from last night. Look ahead to a super-duper busy slate for tonight. The Nets and Timberwolves wound up playing the game that they postponed from Monday yesterday afternoon, and the Nets came out on top 127-97. Brooklyn 37-17, Minnesota 14-41. Kevin Durant 31 points. Anthony Edwards had 27. Clippers over the Pacers 126-115. The Clippers are 38-18. Indy 25-28. Paul George 36 points in his return to Indiana with 7 boards and 8 assists. He was outstanding. Malcolm Brogdon had 29 for Indy. Hawks over the Raptors 108-103. Hawks 30-25. Toronto 21-34. Bogdan Bogdanovic had 23 points for Atlanta. Pascal Siakam had 30 with 7 assists for Toronto. Lakers over the Hornets 101-93, so they bounced back from their loss against the Knicks. Lakers 34-21, Charlotte 27-26. Kyle Kuzma 24 points. Devontae Graham had 19 with 6 assists. Jazz over the Thunder 106-96. Utah 41-14. OKC 20-34. Bojan Bogdanovic had 23 points. Lou Dort, 42 with 3 assists. Wild. Suns over the Heat, 106-86. The Suns, 39-15. The Heat, 28-26. DeAndre Ayton had 19 points and 13 boards. Jimmy Butler had 18 with 8 assists for Miami. Celtics over the Trailblazers, 116-115 in what was the game of the night. A game-winning 3 for Jason Tatum, 29-26, a big win for the Celtics. And Portland drops to 31-23. Jason Tatum, 32 points for Boston. Damian Lillard had 28 with 10 assists for Portland. Now look ahead to a busy window for today. We have another matinee game in Minneapolis because of what's going on down there as they host the Bucks. My projections are Timberwolves 21, total 230. And FanDuel has this at Milwaukee 9.5. We don't have a total out yet. And I'm going to lay that 9.5 with the Bucks. They're the better team with the best player in this game in Giannis Antetokounmpo. Assuming Giannis plays, which it looks like he will. 7 o'clock, the Cavaliers and the Hornets. I'm at Cavaliers by 1, total to 18.5. That's because of the injuries of Charlotte. And it's Charlotte 4.5. We don't have a total yet. I'm taking the Cavs plus 4.5 and plus 162 straight up. ESPN tonight, Nets 76ers, a fantastic game. My projections without Kyrie Irving and James Harden, Philly 9.5, total to 27.5, and about 6.5. I'm laying the 6.5 with Philadelphia. 7:30, the Spurs and the Raptors. I'm at Spurs 7, total to 23, and it's 3.5. I'm laying the 3.5. 3 of the totals aren't out yet. 8 o'clock, the Clippers and the Pistons. I'm at Clippers 18, total to 21.5, and it's Clippers 9.5. I'm laying the 9.5 with the Clippers. Orlando, Chicago, so the Vucevic against his former team. I'm at Bulls 13, total to 21. Meanwhile, it is Bulls 10, total to 18. That game has a total out. So do I go with Chicago or the over? I would love to parlay both, but if I had to pick one, it's the Bulls. Orlando's not even trying, so I'm laying the 10 with Chicago. The Knicks and the Pelicans. I'm at Pelicans 3, total to 19.5. Meanwhile, it's 2.5 and 220.5. So I'm very close on the line and the total. But for the sake of the podcast, I'm going under 220.5. 9 o'clock, you have the Pacers and the Rockets. I'm at Pacers 9.5 total 225. Meanwhile, it's Pacers 4.5 total 232. Oof. I would parlay the Pacers in the under in a heartbeat. If I had to do one, it's Indiana. Laying the 4.5. Warriors Thunder, I'm at Warriors 11.5 total 222.5. Meanwhile, it's Warriors 11. We don't have a total yet. But if the total is 224 or higher, or 224.5 or higher, I'm betting the under. And if it's 220.5 or lower, I'm betting the over. The nightcap of the doubleheader on ESPN is the Mavericks and the Grizzlies at 9:30. Fantastic game. Memphis finally getting love by national TV networks with John Morant and their hunt in the playoff chase. I know the Mavericks get it all the time because they're a big market and they have 2 stars. I'm at Dallas 3.5 total 222.5. Meanwhile, it is Dallas 2 total 225. I'm betting the under. The case is that Dallas's defense is actually pretty decent, and so is Memphis' defense. So I'm going under 225. 10 o'clock, you got the Heat and the Nuggets. I'm at Denver 5.5 total 219. Meanwhile, it's 4 and 213. I love the over. That is really low. Denver's offense is elite. I know Miami's defense is elite, but their offense at times stinks. But I'm going to take my chance and go over 213 for Miami and Denver. And last but not least, the Wizards and the Kings. I'm at Wizards 1 total 231 or 232.5. Meanwhile, it's Wizards 1.5. We don't have a total yet. If the total is 234.5 or lower, I'm taking the under. And if it's 230.5 or lower, I'm taking the over. I'm about to say 234.5 or higher for that projected total. All right, so that was a lot of NBA for tonight. And now we'll move on to the NHL. We will go over the results from last night and look ahead to tonight's window. Rangers over the Devils, 3-0 big win for the Rangers. They're 20-16-6. Devils 14-21-6. The number 3 started the game with a goal, Artemi Panarin. The number 2 started the game with a goal, Mika Zibanejad. And the number 1 started the game with his first career shutout, 27 saves and 27 shots, Igor Shesterkin. Bruins over the Sabres 3-2 in a shootout. The Bruins are 22-12-6. Buffalo 10-25-7. The number 3 started the game with a shootout goal, Charlie Coyle. The number 2 started the game with the shootout game clincher, Jake DeBrusk. And the number 1 started the game with a goal and an assist, Craig Smith. Capitals over the Flyers 6-1. An ass-kicking for Washington, 28-11-4. Philly, 19-17-6. The number 3 started the game with 29 saves on 30 shots, Ilya Samsonov. The number 2 started the game with a goal and assist, new Capital Anthony Mantha. And the number 1 started the game with a goal and 2 assists, former Penguin Connor Sheary. Flames over the Maple Leafs 3-2 in overtime on a game winner by Johnny Gaudreau. Calgary 18-21-3. Toronto 28-11-4. The number 3 started the game with the goal and assist, Zach Hyman. The number 2 started the game with 24 saves on 26 shots, Jacob Markstrom. And the number 1 started the game with the goal and assist, Johnny Gaudreau. Predators over the Lightning 7-2. I called this upset on the podcast yesterday, but little did I know that it would be an ass-kicking. Nashville 24-19-1. Tampa 28-12-2. The number 3 started the game with 2 assists, Ryan Johansson. The number 2 started the game with the goal and assist, or 2 assists, Roman Yossi. And the number 1 started the game with the 2 goals and an assist, Victor Evridson. Panthers over the Stars 3-2 in overtime on a game winner by Frank Vatrano. Florida 27-12-4. Dallas 15-14-12. The number 3 started the game with 2 assists, Jamie Benn. The number 2 started the game with 24 saves on 26 shots, Chris Drieger. And the number 1 started the game with the overtime winner, Frank Vetrano. Tonight's window, 6 games. A matinee game at 2 o'clock between the Coyotes and the Wild. A lot of Minnesota sports teams are going matinee lately because of possible protests and unrest. The Wild are minus 200. Coyotes are plus 168. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 104. Unders minus 118. Coyotes plus 1.5 is minus 156. The Wild minus 1.5 is plus 130. Again, when is the market going to adjust that the Coyotes are an over team? I know the Wild are an under team for the most part, but I'm sorry. Like, the Coyotes been going over a lot lately, other than that Vegas game. So I'm going over 5.5 at minus 104. 7 o'clock, you have the Flames and the Canadiens. The Canadiens are minus 162. The Flames are plus 136. Over under 5.5. Over is minus 120. Under is minus 102. The Flames plus 1.5 is minus 215. The Canadiens minus 1.5 is plus 176. This is a tough one. I'm going to go under 5.5 at minus 102. The cases that Carey Price plays well. Calgary, whomever plays in net, will play okay. Montreal's offense is not very good, so I'm going to go under 5.5 at minus 102. The Jets and the Senators. The Jets are minus 188. The Senators are plus 158. Over under 6.5. Over is plus 110. Under is minus 134. Jets minus 1.5 is plus 146. The Senators plus 1.5 is minus 176. I'm going to lay a little bit of juice and pick the Jets in regulation at minus 120. I think that Ottawa at times has been competitive, but I just think that this game ends in regulation and it's won by the better team in the Winnipeg Jets. I'm going to go Jets in regulation at minus 120. 7:30 NBCSN, you got the Avalanche and the Blues. The Avs are minus 186. The Blues are plus 156. Over under 5.5. Over is minus 122. Unders even money. The Avs minus 1.5 is plus 134. The Blues plus 1.5 is minus 162. The Blues have to start winning games if they want to be in the mix for that last playoff spot in the West Division. They're in the 4th spot at the moment, 1 point ahead of the Coyotes. But I think that they want to keep going and try to solidify it over the Coyotes. So, give me the Blues plus 156 to win straight up at home against the Avalanche. That's my upset special of the day. I nailed it yesterday with Nashville over Tampa Bay. Let's see if I can nail it again with the Blues over the Avalanche on national TV. 10 o'clock NBCSN, you have the Golden Knights and the Kings. The Golden Knights are minus 220. The Kings are plus 184. Over under 5.5. Over is minus 115. Under is minus 105. Golden Knights minus 1.5 is plus 122. The Kings plus 1.5 is minus 146. The Kings, at the moment in the West Division, are 6 back to the postseason. They really fell off after a promising start to the season. And they wound up being a solid to deadline, dealing Jeff Carter to Pittsburgh, among other moves. I'm going to go under 5.5 at minus 105. The Kings' goaltending has been tremendous, regardless of whether it's been Peterson or whomever. So, I'm going to go under 5.5 between the Golden Knights and the Kings. And obviously, the Golden Knights have great goalies of their own, Marc-Andre Fleury and Robin Leonard. And 10:30, you have the Ducks and the Sharks. The Sharks are minus 184. The Ducks are plus 154. Over under 5.5. Over is minus 124. Under is plus 102. The Ducks plus 1.5 is minus 162. The Sharks minus 1.5 is plus 134. I think this is another fun spot to play a dog in the Ducks. The Sharks should not be favored by this much. I know they differ by 7 points in the standings at the moment. But San Jose should not be this big of a favorite. If anything, I might take tie after 60 as a potential bet. But for the show, I'm going to lay heavy juice and take the over. I don't have the guts to pull the trigger on Anaheim. Maybe I'll parlay Anaheim in the over for a little bit, but I'm going to go over 5.5 at minus 124 between the Ducks and the Sharks. Now I'll move on to Major League Baseball. We will go over the window of games from yesterday and look ahead to today's games. Red Sox over the Twins 4-2. Boston 7-3, 7 straight wins. Minnesota 5-5. Adam Ottavino the win. Randy Dobnak the loss. Matt Barnes the save. Hunter Renfroe homered in this game for Boston. So did Rafael Devers. Martin Perez 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. ERA 4.5. J Happ 4 2/3, 4 innings, 4.5 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, 3 strikeouts. ERA 3.12. A's over the Diamondbacks 7-5. The A's are 5-7. Arizona 4-8. It's Mario Petit the win. He's 3-0. Anthony Swarzak the loss. Lou Trevino gets his first save of the year. Carson Kelly, Stephen Piscotty, Jed Lowry, and Seth Brown homered for their respective teams. Jesus Luzardo 2 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, and a strikeout. ERA 8.31. Yikes. Zach Gallen 4 innings, 3 hits, and a run, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. ERA 2.25. Mariners over the Orioles 4-3-8. The Mariners 6-4. Baltimore 4-6. Getting the win for Seattle, Rafael Montero, Tanner Scott the loss, Kendall Graveman the save. Homering for their respective teams. Ty France, Tom Murphy, and the second baseman on the Orioles, Ramon Urias. Justice Sheffield, 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, ERA 4.91. Sean Means, 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, ERA 2.16. Mets over the Phillies 4-3-8 on a walk-off hit by Jonathan Villar. Mets back to 500 at 3-3. Phillies 6-4. Trevor May the win 1-1. Hector Neris the loss. Dominic Smith homered in this game. Taijuan Walker 4 1/3, 3 hits, an earned run, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, ERA 2.61. Chase Anderson 4 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, ERA of 4. Pirates over the Padres 8-4. This is a pretty big upset. Pittsburgh 4-7. San Diego 8-4. Getting the win for Pittsburgh, Chris Stratton. The loss for San Diego, Nabil Krismat. Trent Grisham homered in this game for San Diego. Chad Cole 3 2/3, 4 hits, 3 runs, 7 walks, and a strikeout. ERA 6.75. Blake Snell only went 2/3 of an inning, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, and a strikeout. As he doesn't even make it out of the first inning. And his ERA is 4.35 after that. Blue Jays over the Yankees 7-3. The Blue Jays are 5-6, and so are the Yankees. Hyunjin Ryu the win. Jameson Taillon the loss. Marcus Semien and Rowdy Tellez each homered in this game. Hyunjin Ryu 6 2/3 innings, 4 hits, no runs, a walk, 7 strikeouts, ERA 1.89. And Jameson Taillon 3 2/3, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, a walk, and 3 strikeouts, ERA 7.56. Oof. Rangers over the Rays 8-3. The Rangers are 4-7. Tampa's 5-6. Kyle Gibson the win. Ryan Yarbrough the loss. The lone home run in this game came off the bat of Charlie Culberson, the former Brave. Kyle Gibson pitched well. 7 innings, 4 hits, and a run, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. ERA 4.05. Ryan Yarbrough, not so much. 6 innings, 10 hits, 6 runs, a walk, 6 strikeouts. ERA 6.48. Orioles over the Mariners in game number 2, 7-6. And 7 on a walk-off single by Ramon Urias. Baltimore 5-6. Seattle 6-5. Getting the win, Cesar Valdez He's 2-0. The loss, Casey Sadler. The lone home run in this game for Seattle, the starting left fielder, Sam Haggerty, which tied it in the top of the 7th. Nick Marvici has 3 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 4 strikeouts, 7.04. Drew Kremer, 3 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, a walk, 3 strikeouts, 10.5. Marlins over the Braves, 14-8. The Marlins are 4-6. Atlanta 4-7. Getting the win for Miami, John Curtis. The loss, Max Fried. Marcell Ozuna, Ozzie Albies, Brian Anderson, Adam Duvall, twice. Those are the homers in this game for each team. And I believe one of the Marlin home runs. Oh, I thought Duvall's second was a grand slam. I guess not. Pablo Lopez, 4 innings, 9 hits, 6 runs, a walk, 6 strikeouts, 4.6. Max Fried, 4 innings, 9 hits, 7 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 11.45. A terrible start for Max Fried. Cubs over the Brewers, 3-2. The Cubs 5-6. Milwaukee 6-5. Pedro Strop the win. Brent Sutter the loss, and Craig Kimbrell his 3rd save of the season. Home runs in this game for Milwaukee, Luis Urias, and for Chicago, Wilson Contreras hit the go-ahead homer. Alec Mills pitched instead of Kyle Hendricks, who was a last-minute scratch. Mills, 4 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, no walks, no strikeouts, 2.79. We all remember him for throwing the no-hitter last year. Brendan Woodruff, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, 2.12. Cardinals over the Nationals, 14-3. The Cards are 6-5. Washington 2-6. Jack Flaherty to win. Steven Strasburg the loss. Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, Matt Carpenter, all homered for their respective teams. Actually, it was all Cardinal home runs. I thought there was a Nat player in there as well. Oops. Flaherty, 5 innings, 3 hits, and a run, no walks, 6 strikeouts, 4.11. Steven Strasburg, 4 innings, 8 hits, 7 runs, 5 walks, 3 strikeouts, 6.3. Oof. Mets over the Phillies, 4-0 in the second game. Mets are over 500 at 4-3. Phillies 6-5. Marcus Stroman the win, Aaron Nola the loss. Marcus Stroman was outstanding. 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts, 8.75. Aaron Nola, 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 7 strikeouts, 3.45. Royals over the Angels 3-2. The Royals 5-4, Angels 7-4. Danny Duffy to win, Dylan Bundy the loss, Greg Holland the save. Shohei Ohtani homer in this game for LA. Danny Duffy 6 innings, 8 hits, and a run, a walk, 6 strikeouts, 8.75. Bundy 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, 3.32. Indians over the White Sox 2-0 in 10. Shane Bieber to win. He's 1-1. Garrett Crochet the loss. He's 0-2. And getting the save, James Karinchak. Cleveland 6-4. Chicago 5-6. Shane Bieber 9 innings, 3 hits and a run, a walk, 11 strikeouts. 2.11. He was outstanding. Lucas Giolito 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. ERA 2.55. Unfortunately, Crochet again, the beneficiary of the extra inning rule, which it doesn't hurt his ERA. Tigers over the Astros 8-2. The Tigers 5-6. Astros 6-5. Matt Boyd the win. Jake Odorizzi the loss. Akil Baddoo, Nomar Mazara, Wilson Ramos homered twice, and Renato Nunez all homered for Detroit in this game. Matt Boyd, 6 2/3, 6 hits and a run, a walk, 4 strikeouts, ERA 1.86. Jake Odorizzi, 3 1/3, 7 hits, 5 runs, no walks, 4 strikeouts, ERA 13.5. Giants over the Reds 7-6. The Giants 7-4. The Reds 7-4. Wandy Peralta or Willie Peralta? Wandy Peralta the win. He's 2-0. Kyanel Perez the loss. He's 0-2. He's 1-1. The save, Jake McGee is 5th of the year. Joey Votto, Mike Moustakas, Mike Yastrzemski, Brandon Crawford, and Evan Longoria all homered in this game for their respective clubs. Kevin Gossman, 6 innings, 5 hits, or 4 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, rate 3.2. Luis Castillo, 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts, rate 7.04. Dodgers over the Rockies, 7-0. The Dodgers 9-2. Colorado 3-8. Trevor Bauer to win, he's 2-0. Antonio Senzatella to loss, he's 1-2. Corey Seager, Chris Taylor, Mookie Betts, and Max Muncy all homered for the Dodgers. Trevor Bauer, 7 innings, a hit, no one runs, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, ERA 2.7. Best start so far this season. And Senzatella, 2 2/3, 5 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, ERA 7.07. Today's games at 1 o'clock, you have the Yankees and the Blue Jays from Dubaiton. Corey Kluber and Ross Stripling. The Yankees are -124. The Blue Jays are +106. Over under 10.5. Over is -106. Under is -114. The Yankees -1.5 is +120. The Blue Jays +1.5 is -144. I'm going to take Toronto +106 straight up. I just don't think Corey Kluber is the same guy anymore. I don't get the respect he gets in the market. Meanwhile, Stripling, pitched well against the Yankees his first time out. And Corey Kluber was okay against the Blue Jays his first time out, but he was terrible against the Rays. And I like Ross Stripling. So I'm going to go Blue Jays +106 against the Yankees. 1:15, you have the Nationals and the Cardinals, Joe Ross and Adam Wainwright. Nats are +114. The Cardinals are -134. Over under 8.5. Over is -114. Under is -106. The Nats +1.5 is -192. The Cardinals -1.5 is +158. I'm going to go over 8.5 and -114. I think there'll be a lot of runs in this game. The Cards' offense has been tremendous. I think the Nats can tee off a couple against Wainwright as well. I think this could be a 6-3 game at least. So I'm going over 8.5 and -114. 1:30 the Cubs and the Brewers, Jake Arrieta and Corbin Burns. Milwaukee's -132. The Cubs are +144. Over under 7.5. Over is -112. Under is -108. The Cubs +1.5 is -142. The Brewers -1.5 is +118. I'm going to go under 7.5 and -108. It's a ballsy play. But the case is that Jake Arrieta has been awesome so far, as well as Corbin Burns. So I'm going to go under 7.5 and -108. 2 o'clock, you have the Angels and the Royals. Griffin Canning and Brad Keller. Angels are -126. The Royals are +108. 9's the over-under. Angels -1.5 is +134. The Royals +1.5 is -162. This is a tough one. I'm going to go over 9. I think that Brad Keller in his first couple starts has been atrocious and not what the Royals were hoping. Griffin Canning, I think, is someone that the Angels need to see improvement from this year. But I do think that the Royals offense can score off him, so I'm going to go 9 over. Doubleheader game 1, Red Sox Twins. Nady Eovaldi and Kenta Maeda. I like the Twins in the first game. 3:45, the Reds and the Giants. Tyler Mahle and Johnny Cueto. It's a pick 'em at -108 each side. Over under 8.5. Over is -115. Under is -105. The Reds -1.5 is +155. The Giants +1.5 is -188. So the Reds are favored on the run line. I'm going to go with the Reds, -108. I think they bounce back. Johnny Cueto is not the Johnny Cueto of old. So that's that. The second half of the doubleheader between the Red Sox and the Twins, Eduardo Rodriguez and Jose Barrios. I think the Twins can sweep this. I really do. They have the edge on the pitching matchup in both games. 6:30, you have the Padres at the Pirates. Joe Musgrove and Tyler Anderson. Musgrove's minus 200. The Pirates are plus 172. Over under 8. Padres minus 1/2 is minus 102. The Pirates plus 1/2 is minus 118. I'm going to go under 8. I know this could be a letdown start for Musgrove after the no-hitter. But I do think that this is an under spot. I think the Padres can win this game like 5-1 or something like that. Or maybe it's a 4-3 game. Worst case scenario, it's a push, but I'm going to bank on no letdown for Joe Musgrove because of his opponent. So I'm going to go under 8 between the Padres and the Pirates. 7 o'clock, you got the Mariners and the Orioles. Justin Dunn and Matt Harvey. The Orioles are minus 126. The Mariners are plus 108. Over under 9. Over is minus 118. Under is minus 104. The Mariners plus 1/2 is minus 182. The Orioles minus 1/2 is plus 150. I'm going over 9 at minus 118. I know it's a juice number, but I like it a lot. I don't think Matt Harvey might finish the season as an Oriole. He's terrible. I know he's good against the Red Sox. But, like, Matt Harvey is not Matt Harvey from the Mets. I'm sorry. I would love to parlay the Mariners plus 108 and over 9, but I feel better about the over because this could be a bullpen blows it game for the Mariners. So I'm going to go over 9 at minus 118. The Tigers and the Astros, Michael Fulmer and Lance McCullers Jr. The Astros are minus 225. The Tigers are plus 188. Over under 8.5. Over is minus 120. Under is minus 102. The Tigers plus 1/2 is minus 106. The Astros minus 1/2 is minus 113. I think this is where the Astros finally bounce back. So I'm going to go Astros minus 1/2 at minus 113. So I'm going to go Astros run line. I don't think the Tigers are going to repeat their last 2 games. I think A.J. Hinch is just motivated because he's playing in his former ballpark. So I'm going to go Astros minus 1/2 at minus 113. Phillies Mets, Zach Wheeler and David Peterson. The Phillies minus 110. And Wheeler's return to Citi Field. The Mets are minus 106, over under 8. The Phillies minus 1/2 is plus 152. The Mets plus 1/2 is minus 184. I'm taking the Phillies straight up at minus 110. I can't believe the Phillies are this low as a favorite. I think Zach Wheeler have a big chip on his shoulder pitching in front of the New York crowd. So I'm going to go over, or not over 8. Although that's a good one too. Phillies and over is interesting, but I'm going to go with the Phillies at minus 110. Rangers Rays. Kohei Ariara and Josh Fleming. The Rays are minus 186. The Rangers are plus 156. Over under 8.5. Over is minus 106. Under is minus 114. The Rangers plus 1/2 is minus 125. The Rays plus 1/2 is plus 104. I'm going to go over 8.5 at minus 106. The case is that Arihara. Nobody really knows him. But he hasn't been good. And Josh Fleming's making his first start of the season. He's a bit of an unknown, too. I can see the bullpen's giving up runs here, so I'm going to go over 8.5 at minus 106. 7:20 of the Marlins and the Braves. You have Charlie Morton against Nick Neidert. The Braves are minus 250. The Marlins are plus 205. Over under 8.5. Over is minus 114. Under is minus 106. The Marlins plus 1/2 is minus 102. The Braves minus 1/2 is plus or minus 118. A popular play that I've been doing is Marlins first 5. I'm going to do it again at plus 220. I don't think the Marlins will win, per se, but Neidert's been awesome so far to start the season. Charlie Morton's been okay. So I'm going to go Marlins first half plus 220. Next up, you have at 8 o'clock, the Indians at the White Sox, Zach Plesac and Carlos Rodon. White Sox minus 118. The Indians are even money. Over under 8. Over is minus 102. Under is minus 120. The Indians minus 1/2 is plus 172. The White Sox plus 1/2 is minus 210. Carlos Rodon's getting a lot of respect, and he's off to a fabulous start to the season. But Zach Plesac is off to a fabulous start as well. And getting him at even money, I think, is a rarity. So I'm going to take the Indians at even money against the White Sox. Although, first 5 at plus 110 is intriguing too, but I'm going to go full game, even money. And last but not least, you have the Rockies and the Dodgers at 10 o'clock. John Gray and Dustin May. Dodgers are minus 290. The Rockies are plus 235. Over under 8. Over is minus 105. Under is minus 115. The Rockies plus 1/2 is plus 112. The Dodgers minus 1/2 is minus 134. I'm going to go under 8 at minus 115. It's a ballsy play, but I'm going to do it. John Gray's been marvelous so far for the Rockies. I know Dustin May's been solid as well. But I'm tempted to take Rockies and under. Dustin May's been good this year as well. So just to be safe, I'm going to go under 8 at minus 115 between the Rockies and the Dodgers. Now I'm going to move on to my NBA power rankings for the week. No theme like I did for the baseball ones. But maybe next week I'll do a theme for the NBA power rankings. So, without further ado, here we go. Number 30 is the Orlando Magic. They've traded everybody away, obviously. They're terrible. They're 17-37, 2-8 in their last 10. 29, the Detroit Pistons. They're 16-38, 4-6 in their last 10, which they've been a little better. Jeremy Grant in and out of the lineup. Number 28, the Houston Rockets. They are 14-40, 2-8 in their last 10. They've just been trying to lose so they could keep their pick. Because if they don't keep their pick, it obviously goes to the Thunder, who are my number 27 team. They are 20-34 on the year, 1-9 in their last 10. Now they're trying to lose games. Number 26 is the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're awful as well. 14-41, 3-7 in their last 10. But the reason why they're out of the cellar is because they've been pretty competitive of late. And Anthony Edwards has been a big part of that. 25 is the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're 19-34 on the year, 3-7 in their last 10. A lot of their young guys, I think, have improved this season. Number 24 is the Washington Wizards. They're 20-33 in the season, 5-5 in their last 10. The big win over the Jazz. And they are 2 back of the Bulls for the play-in spot. So the Wizards have a shot. So they're not done yet. And they have a shot because they have 2 of the best players in basketball in Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook in their backcourt. 23 is the Sacramento Kings. They're 22-32, 3-7 in their last 10. They are 4 back of the play-in game. I think they're done. Number 22, the Toronto Raptors. They're 21-34 on the season, 3-7 in their last 10. Injuries have derailed this team, but amazingly enough, they're 2 back of the Bulls for the last play-in spot. Maybe they get Van Vliet back and the Bulls or somebody else falls apart. But I think the most likely to fall out is the Bulls. I mean, they're in a free fall right now, amazingly enough. And they're my number 21 team on here, 22-31 on the year. They have a 2-game lead on Toronto and Washington, 3-7 in their last 10, despite the addition of Nikola Vucevic. Number 20 is the Indiana Pacers, are 25-20 in the season, 5-5 in their last 10, 2 back of the Knicks for the 8 spot. They're terrible at home, 9-16 at home. I just came across that right now. Yikes. Number 19, the New Orleans Pelicans. They've been playing good basketball lately. 25-29 in the season, 6-4 in their last 10, and 1 back of the Warriors for the last play-in spot in the Western Conference. Zion Williamson has led the way. They've had some injuries, but they're getting guys back, so that's good. Number 18 is the Golden State Warriors. They're 26-28, 4-6 in their last 10. 1-game lead on the Pelicans for the last play-in spot. Stephen Curry's been single-handedly winning these games. For example, Monday night in national TV spotlight against Denver. Number 17 is the San Antonio Spurs. They're 26-26 on the season, 4-6 in their last 10. They have a 2-game lead on the 9th spot over the Pelicans, 1-game lead over the Warriors. So there's a shot that the Spurs fall out of the playoffs, which wouldn't be surprising. They're the least talented team in the Western Conference playoff field. Number 16, the New York Knicks. 28-27 on the season, 5-5 in their last 10, winners of 3 straight. They have a 2-game lead on the Pacers for the 8th spot, and they're tied with Charlotte for 7th. But Charlotte has games in hand. That's why they're ahead of the Knicks. I think the Knicks can pass Charlotte because of Charlotte's injuries, and they should pass Charlotte because Charlotte doesn't have their 2 best players. And Charlotte is number 15. They're 27-26. 5-5 in their last 10. Back-to-back losses for them. We'll see how this plays out. Charlotte's not as talented with some of their guys out. Meanwhile, New York has just been grinding out these games left and right. Tom Thibodeau has to be the coach of the year, in my opinion. And Charlotte's coach has to be in consideration, too. James Georgios, or whatever his name is. Let me see, Charlotte's coach. Because he's done a great job with that roster and all the injuries that team has suffered this season. James Borrego. Number 14 is the Memphis Grizzlies. They are in the 8th seed in the West, 27-25 on the season, 6-4 in their last 10. John Moran has been great. They've been weirdly bad at home, 13-15. Number 13 is the Miami Heat. They are 28-26, 6th in the East, 6-4 in their last 10. Very mediocre. They've really been very up and down. Number 12 is the Boston Celtics, 5th in the East, 29-26 on the season, 7-3 in their last 10, winners of 4 straight. I don't know if this team has turned a corner or not yet, but if we're back in a week from now and they haven't lost, then we're talking. But the Celtics are not back yet. They have a 1-game lead on the Knicks and the Hornets and the half-game lead on the Heat. So the Eastern Conference between 4th and 8th is a mush. And you could argue between 4 and 9, it's a mush. Number 11 is the Atlanta Hawks. They're 30-25 on the season. 7-3 their last 10, winners of 3 straight. They are 16-5 under Nate McMillan. They should have fired Lloyd Pierce at the end of last season, but they didn't because of COVID. So that's a guy that survived an extra couple months because of COVID, in my opinion. And there's a lot of sports coaches that survived because of COVID and still have jobs because of COVID. And it's sad to say that, but it's unfortunate. I know that there's coaches out there in sports that would have been fired if not been for this unfortunate pandemic. But Lloyd Pierce was among that group, but now Nate McMillan has really done a fantastic job with this team. And they didn't even have Trae Young last night. Number 10 is the Los Angeles Lakers. They're 34-21 on the year, 6-4 in their last 10. They've been amazingly competitive without LeBron and AD. They've really have treaded water, 6-7 since LeBron got hurt. Davis might be back in a week. LeBron might be back in 2 or 3 weeks. So they're back for the last couple weeks to get themselves ready for the postseason. And they're 5th in the West and are a half game back of Denver, amazingly enough. And they're up a game or 2.5 games on Portland. And that was a big win last night for them against Charlotte. Number 9 is the Dallas Mavericks. They're 29-24 on the season, 7th in the West. 6-4 in their last 10. They've lost back-to-back games. They have a big one tonight against Memphis. Because if Memphis wins, they get within a half game of Dallas. Number 8 is the Portland Trailblazers. They're 31-23 on the year, 6th in the West. 5-5 in their last 10. They lost 2 in a row. They have a negative point differential, which is weird. That won't bode well for them in the playoffs. Their home and road splits are pretty much even. Damian Lillard's been playing great. Number 7 is the Milwaukee Bucks. They are 33-20 on the season. 4-6 in their last 10, but that's all because of injury. They're undefeated in their division, which is weird. I just came across that stat. Dominant at home, mediocre on the road. Number 6 is the Denver Nuggets. They are 34-20 on the season. 8-2 in their last 10, although they lost their last 2. So they had an 8-game winning streak snapped the other day against Boston at home, in which they really self-combusted in that game. They're a half game up on the Lakers for 4th, and they're 3 back of the Clippers for 3rd. Home and road splits are pretty even. Number 5 is the Los Angeles Clippers. They're 38-18 on the season. 3rd in the West, 8-2 in their last 10. Winners of 6 straight. Dominant at home. Pretty good on the road. I know they don't even have Kawhi right now, and that's credit to Ty Lue, who I don't think is a good coach, and I thought was a product of his stars. And I think that could be the case here in Los Angeles as well. But he's done a nice job. Gotta hand it to him. Number 4 is the Brooklyn Nets. They are 37-17 on the season. 7-3 in their last 10. They have some injuries that they're dealing with right now, as well as the Kyrie Irving situation. I'm convinced that he's sitting because of the Minneapolis tragedy. He just isn't admitting it. But you never know. It could be something different. But I really am sure that the tragedy in Minnesota is the reason why Kyrie Irving is sitting. Although they're not going to say that publicly. And Kyrie won't say that publicly. He's just going to say personal reasons because he always sits due to personal reasons. I was listening to my buddy Jared Smith's show the other day, and he was literally ripping Kyrie Irving for resting for personal reasons. And I don't blame him because they need him. Because James Harden's been dealing with an injury. Kevin Durant is just coming back from his injury. And Kyrie Irving is not a leader by any stretch of the imagination. Brooklyn's dominant at home, solid on the road. Number 3 is the Philadelphia 76ers. Are 37-17 on the season. 6-4 in their last 10. Back-to-back wins for the Sixers. Dominant at home, solid on the road. They've just been playing great. Joel Embiid should be the MVP favorite, along with Giannis. Jokic, I know Denver's in the top 4 in the West, but I'm sorry, you don't self-combust against Boston if you want to win the MVP. So, it should be Embiid or Giannis, in my opinion. Number 2 is the Phoenix Suns, the red-hot Phoenix Suns. They're 35-15. A game and a half back of Utah for first. Dominant home, great on the road. 9-1 in their last 10, winners of 3 straight. The lone loss in that span came at the Clippers in a game where I bet on the Suns to win straight up. And number 1 is the Utah Jazz, 41-14 on the season. 7-3 in their last 10. That loss to the Wizards was really dumbfinding. 25-3 at home, 16-11 on the road. Donovan Mitchell's just playing out of his mind. You have to talk about him for MVP too because of how great the Jazz have been. Although Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year, certainly in play as well, although I think it should be Ben Simmons. So I am going to say that Utah's the best team, but they don't have whom I think should be the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, which isn't a bad thing because I think the Jazz care more about winning than they do about individual hardware, and that's what should be the case here. Alrighty, now I'll move on to the news and notes for the day. Very interesting stuff to talk about. So I'm just going to start from the top and work my way down. The NCAA to pass transfer rule as the D1 Council is likely to approve rule allowing student athletes to transfer once without having to sit out. That is great. That is absolutely great. I think that will benefit a ton of schools. Davion Mitchell entering the draft as the Baylor Star announces on Instagram that he'll officially declare for the 2021 draft. Andrew Jones is returning to Texas as the Texas Star guard tweets hype tape to announce he's back for another year. I think that that's great for Texas. They got a transfer recently as well. And this is the power of Chris Beard, guys. Hubert Davis gets a $10 million deal, 5 years, $10 million. And with up to $1.1 million in potential annual bonuses. So that's really good for Hubert Davis, who I really am convinced was the coach in waiting for Roy Williams. But they would just never admit it. Huge news. Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor 3, official, July 10th at UFC 264. That is big time. A Saturday night. And that is huge boxing news. We don't usually talk boxing on the show, as well as MMA. But this is something that I had to talk about. Mark Cuban criticizing play-in games as he tells ESPN that the play-in tournament concept is an enormous mistake with the compressed season. I disagree with Mark Cuban. And hopefully his team gets stuck in that game so that he has egg on his face. Because sometimes karma bites you in the ass, and maybe your team's going to have to win a play-in game, which I think is likely. So maybe there'll be karma coming his way. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers players opt out of the offseason workouts due to the pandemic as the league is trying to go all virtual. I think Denver opted out, and there's another team that opted out as well. I think it was Seattle. Jamal Murray has a torn ACL as the star guard injured the left knee on Monday, so he's out for the season. That's a big loss for Denver. I think that is going to hurt Nikola Jokic's MVP case, or it could help it if Denver goes on a ridiculous run and finishes in the top 3 in the West without Jamal Murray. So, it could go either way. I think that they need to be crossed off the championship contender list with this injury. This is just very brutal, and we won't see him again until the middle of next season. Teoscar Hernandez has COVID-19, as Charlie Montoya says that the Blue Jays outfielder tested positive and will be out for at least 10 days. That's a big loss for the Blue Jays offense. Teoscar Hernandez is a good young role player for that team. James Paxton done for the season and will have Tommy John surgery. That's just brutal. James Paxton came back to the Mariners, and he only pitched 1 inning. Very sad. The Falcons will join the Patriots and 49ers at Justin Fields' second pro day today. So I think Justin Fields is in play to go 3rd overall, but everyone, their brothers, is convinced that it's Mac Jones. The WNBA schedule is out, as the season will begin with 4 games on May 14th. 32-game schedule. And I'm trying to see what the 4 games are. On that day, I can't find it. But We'll get to it eventually. The Pelicans may not bring back Isaiah Thomas, as the team doesn't plan to bring back Isaiah Thomas right away after his 10-day contract expired. So, IT really helped New Orleans there for a little bit, but they're one back. They have their stars back. And we'll see if they end up making the play-in game or not. That'd be huge for the NBA if they did. And last but not least, the Arizona Cardinals signed James Conner to a deal after 4 seasons with the Steelers. So it's going to be James Conner and Chase Edmond in that backfield in 2021. All right, now we'll move on to the Masked Singer. The Group A Finals is tonight. The return of Nick Cannon as the host is tonight. The return of Nick Cannon was really last week as he was unexpectedly unmasked as the Bulldog, which I thought was absolutely rigged in so many different ways. And the other part of me is that I think that it wouldn't have been such a rush if the crab didn't have that scene. We have not seen Group A in 3 weeks. We have the Russian Dolls, the Raccoon, Robopine, Seashell, Orca. That's what we had. The Raccoon got voted off 3 weeks ago, and it was Danny Trejo, and that was correct on that. The Russian Dolls, the first episode, it was a hint about one, and then the second one appeared in the appearance. And then the song in the second episode of Group A was just 2, and then it turned into 3. And for sure, we're going to see a 4th one tonight. My guess for this is U2. Jenny went with Lady A, Robin Sugarland, Joel McHale is the guest host that day, Boyz II Men, and Ken Jeong jokingly and stupidly said the Jackson 5. Robopine, I thought was unbelievable. He sang All of Me by John Legend a couple weeks ago. I think this is Stevie Wonder. I really think it's somebody old school. Ken Jeong said Eddie Murphy, not bad. Nicole Scherzinger said Jason Derulo. Robin Thicke said Wesley Stein. Seashell, I think this is very hard to figure out. I put down Kelly Rowland with the question mark. Joel McHale said Ashley Simpson. Robin Thicke said Haley Duff. And Ken Jeong said Jelly Slate. And the wild card was Orca. They performed We're Not Gonna Take It by Twister Sister. I'm not giving away who my first impression guess was. Nicole went with David Grohl. Joel said Billy Corrigan. And Jenny McCarthy said Kevin Bacon. And tonight we get a new wild card, and I'm interested to see who that is. And apparently there are some surprises for Nick Cannon on the show as well. And I don't think Nick knows who's under the masks of the remaining contestants, but I do think that he knows who has been unmasked already. And he's probably the only person that was a contestant that knows who was unmasked already, with maybe a couple exceptions with, like, I'm sure. But here's the other funny thing. Group B knows that was Nick Cannon because they were all on stage for when he got unmasked, because it was so sudden that it was the unmasking of the Bulldog, and obviously, like I said, it was turned out to be Nick Cannon, and everybody was on stage for it, and which was pretty neat. Alrighty, best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. This was another hard one for me to make a pick on. And I'm still debating a little bit. But there was one that kind of stood out to me, and it was a total. And that is over 8.5 between the Nats and the Cardinals. I don't like Joe Ross at all. I'm just going to lay 2 units on this, so I don't feel great about it. But over 8.5 between the Nats and the Cards for my best bet of the day. So that's it for the podcast today. I'll be back tomorrow recapping tonight's Masked Singer episode. I'll make a pick for the RBC Heritage. NFL mock draft tomorrow, and obviously the latest news and notes and going over everything that happened in basketball, hockey, and baseball, and looking ahead to tomorrow's games. I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.